Hey guys, welcome to the first art hour. This will be the second attempt. I kind of screwed up the first time here, but that's it happens. It happens. What I did was I didn't remove this title screen here, so you didn't see what I was sketching. But it happens. It happens. It's the first time, and it's Saturday, so come on, you get more of me. So I'm gonna remove the title now. There we go. This was what I was drawing in the in the background that you didn't see. So I'm sorry for that. Um, what I'm trying to do is actually creating a character. I'm trying to create a basic angel character that I'm gonna use for my webcomic. And I want the character to look kind of menacing and like a warrior and stuff like that, with swords and maybe helmets and stuff like that. So I did this, but you didn't see that because I screwed up and didn't remove the title screen. So I'm sorry for that. And if you're new, you can join us in the chat if you're watching this live. There's a chat on the right where you can just type your name and ask me questions. Maybe you want to link me something to critique or something like that. Maybe you just want to ask me what favorite movie I have, or maybe favorite food or something like that. So please do. Please join me in the chat. I will draw every Saturday, 18 to 19 Swedish time, for those who want to join and talk and hang out in the chat. So what I was doing is I like this one. Maybe it's a little bit too realistic in style, so I was trying something here on the right, but I feel that isn't where I want to go. It kind of lacks a little bit. So I'm just gonna remove that and do a new layer. And we will try a different take on this one. So, oh, what a bad way to start this. But hey, it happens. It happens. People screw up sometimes. As long as we can fix it, it's okay. It's okay. So I am also using, for those who have asked, I am using a tablet to do this. I am not using my mouse or anything like that. I'm actually using a Wacom or Wacom, or how you pronounce it. A Wacom, I pronounce the Wacom, Cintiq 22 HD, and the software I'm using is right now Clip Studio Paint Pro, which is the digital download version of Manga Studio 5. And why is it called differently? Well, it's a licensing issue with them. I go read it. I was wondering it myself. It's kind of like Manga Studio is owned by one company and the digital version is owned by another company. It's a hassle, but it's the same program pretty much. And why I'm using it instead of Photoshop is because, well, Photoshop is kind of expensive and this is not. And it's also much better with the brushes, I think. Anyway, let's see. We have the helmet I like, and I like kind of this. So I'm gonna try and do a pose. What pose should I do? Maybe we can do something with him standing kinda. I'm gonna start fighting. Maybe a fighting stance. That could be interesting. Let's see. Maybe we can have him have his big ass shoulders like this. Big neck. There we go. And we're gonna have the other shoulders somewhere around there, I think. Let's see. His muscles are like Arnold's size, maybe even bigger if that is possible. He's going to beat Arnold, yeah. So I'm just gonna try and sketch some big ass muscles over here and keep the arm, not the arm, the hand, kind of like that, and put the other one around. This is where he's gonna be holding his sword. So here we go. Maybe that is a little bit too high. Maybe I can do, yeah, maybe I will do something like that instead. I'm gonna put up the shoulders a little bit higher because I want him to perhaps be a little bit more leaning in for the fight, because if I don't, this and the arm is gonna be a little bit off, and I don't want that. So I'm gonna do his kind of like, what I'm actually doing right now is I'm taking him and just putting his shoulders like this, so he's kind of like standing with us like this, and his arms are holding like this. So it's gonna become something like that. That is the pose I'm trying to do. I'm just having to, figure out how the muscles are actually connecting, and how much mass. How big is this guy? That's the issue that always comes with drawing big muscular guys. And of course, where does his stomach and when does his legs begin, and how am I supposed to do the legs? Let's see here. We're gonna start first and foremost with this. We're gonna push his arm like that, and we have that part, something like that. I'm not quite sure about it, but let's begin with that. We can push up his shoulder muscle. Maybe we can fix it like that, and yeah, something like that. I can fix that later perhaps. And his face is gonna be somewhere, I want it to be very deep. I want them to be looking into our soul. So maybe his eyes right about here, if we follow the design from this part. And I think that is kind of good enough for now, at least. Let's push this there. And I haven't decided on a sword design either, so I'm just gonna do like a big kind of cross. I really need to work on drawing more knights and stuff like that, so I can get the armors and stuff like that correctly, because armor is kind of tricky. I mean, it's so much details, and there's so much stuff that if you don't draw it, it kind of looks bad, or it just lacks something. And yeah, so I really need to do some practice. Even I need to do practice most of the times. And remember, you can always use reference. Reference is not a bad thing to use, as long as you're not only copying it. As long as you're not like, oh, I did this. No, you didn't. You used a reference. And as long as you're aware that you're using and trying to do something of your own with it. Reference is usually best used only for, getting the pose right, or getting like, okay, this is how a person actually moves or twists in muscle mass. But if you just copy someone else's work, it's not using reference. Then you're just copying someone. You're just stealing art, you little thief. So remember that it's always good to try and remember that. Don't steal, mimic, or reference, but use reference. Please do use reference, because that's how you will see if you're wrong or if you are on the right track of drawing it correctly. And I'm guessing that this has a lot of issues somewhere in this, because my anatomy is never really good. It's more like I'm trying to do it more dynamic. I'm trying to do it the way I think it looks good. I'm not trying to do it like, oh, this is how the muscles are and how this is how it's supposed to be. I'm just doing what I feel is working for the image. And it's kind of like that because you have to translate what you actually draw and what you actually intend to do. It's kind of like you have to translate what the muscles are, but you don't have to do them exactly as they are in real life. Because if you want to do something with real life, then maybe you should do photography instead, because usually but that's me. That's only me and my opinion. My opinion is that real life drawings isn't usually the what's most interesting. It's not it's kind of bland and kind of boring. The most interesting art for me is when it's more dynamic and has life to it and some kind of movement, and it actually feels like someone has actually created a moment in time. And that is, for me, what I think is interesting art. But that's me. That's my opinion. So you don't have to think the same way I do. Just, for me, I want movement or something in the image that translates a lot better. I kind of like that this helmet is actually becoming like a Shredder helmet, even though it's not supposed to be Shredder at all. But it's kind of interesting because Shredder's helmet is inspired by samurai armor, and samurai armor and Western knight armor is kind of similar. It's not, exactly similar, but it's quite close. Especially the helmet, at least, because the helmets always kind of look similar. Let's see, I'm gonna try and perhaps, and also it also kind of looks like Kaserne, if you know what that is. Okay, now it's really starting to look like, but it's fine. I will do some details later on that perhaps will alleviate the likeness. Just gonna make this. We'll also have to do some color change, but otherwise this is gonna be looking a lot like Shredder right now. But like I said before, which I did screw up, but I want some angelic biblical stuff kind of in on the helmet later on, here and all over the helmet. Some signatures and some texture wording, perhaps scratches and stuff like that. That is more angelic to the characters. But like I said, this is what I'm doing today. Next time on this, I probably will be drawing something else. I'm gonna do this. Here we go. Put this like that. I really need to check my armor skills here. But if you have any questions, please type your name into the chat. You can ask me anything. If you need help with a drawing or you don't know how to do something, if you have questions about the software or some techniques, or maybe you just want to ask me, hey, what did you think of that movie, or what do you do on your off time and stuff like that. You can ask me stuff like that if you want. Naturally, I will be prioritizing art questions before everything else, but if you have any questions, please let me know. And if you're watching this on YouTube, which it will be up on later on, and you have a question but can't make it to the live show, please just ask in the comments below, or if you're on my Instagram, you can ask me something that you want me to take up here at the stream. And let's see, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna do this. This is probably not gonna be correct in any way, but just to try it out. And as you can see, I am actually trying to like sculpture out. I'm just taking away, I'm adding, and just trying to make some changes along the way with how I do the character. I'm just molding it out from what it was. And let's see here, we're gonna have the pad, and his pad is gonna be there. And I think, yeah, and then we can put the scarf that I did somewhere around like that. I have to check it in. There we go. And he has the other one here. I forgot about that. And something like that. Like I said, this is probably not anatomically correct in a lot of ways, but that's not the point of this just yet. Just yet. Now that's a word hard to pronounce. I can see here. As you can see, I'm just trying stuff here. I don't even know where I'm going quite myself, and that's just because I want the flow. I just want to try stuff out. I'm not trying to control anything. I'm just trying to find the character. I'm just trying to see what works and what does not work. And what doesn't work, I remove, and I try again, and I try again, and I try again. Because that's how I at least find my characters. I try a lot of things, and I sleep on it, and I think about it, and I look at other stuff, and I look, is it too simple? Is it too advanced? Is it too much? How much will I have to draw this, and stuff like that. If it's like a one-time drawing, I have no issues. I usually then go like, okay, whatever. But if, like for this, it's gonna be a character that probably pops up a lot. So I want to make sure that I actually like drawing it, and it isn't too much to draw, because then it will be a hassle. It will become a problem. A problem I don't want. So I have to be a little bit careful, but not too careful. I'm still exploring, and when I'm done I can look at it and see, maybe I can remove this, maybe I can make this simplified and stuff like that. And that kind of is my method of just, you know, trying to get better at stuff, is kind of like trying to find how I can do stuff faster. How can I do this faster? How can I draw this faster? And if I can have a way of just, you know, taking away more time that I have to spend on this, it's greater for me, because then it means I can draw more and I can do more with it than just sitting and drawing the same drawing for a long time. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna be doing here, if he's gonna be having like a belt or anything. Maybe he has kind of like a big belt. And let's see, let's put the insignia on his side here. I don't know, maybe I don't want to do like a big belt on the middle, because that has been done so many times, especially by me. So maybe like the insignia on a little bit on the side, kind of like that. And his armor is kind of shapen after muscle tone. And here we go with, I'm just gonna do it like this. I haven't decided on an insignia. Just right now I'm just trying to write the story. I'm just trying to get the beats of the story. So I'm not particularly well versed in my own kind of universe, but I will come to that. So right now I'm just trying to figure out characters and what do I like, what do I want to see, and stuff like that. I like this. I like the big sword, but I don't think it's gonna become like, you know, big Braveheart kind of sword. But it's gonna be a much wider sword for more damage. I like that kind of idea, and I really do need something to put on the helmet here. I want something like scriptures or something like that, perhaps. I don't know. Something that is kind of trying to, like incantations on the helmet or some kind of blessing or anything like that, and that would be cool to have. Let me show you. If I do something like, I take a very small here, but something like, you know, these hieroglyphs and stuff like that. Maybe he has, I don't know. Now I'm just doing tentacles. And I don't know many religious symbols as well, but you know, it's kind of like something like going out from each side and perhaps having like crosses and stuff like that. Maybe something like that. I don't know. And then, you know, scribbles and stuff like that. That just comes from the side and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what would be in here, but something like this, and maybe even like here on the helmet over here, it will be kind of like, it's gonna be gold plated, the edges and stuff like that. So it's gonna become kind of probably be like something, maybe like something elven. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just trying to this is what I mean. I'm just trying to figure out what would look good and how much detail can I put in. Because if I'm gonna have to do this every time, maybe I can just draw this on a separate paper and or separate document and just paste it in every time I need it and correct it in afterwards or something like that. That's a way to save time for me, at least. So yeah, I will have to check that out and see what I can do with that. And I'm like just gonna be scribbling here just because I don't want to do everything, but just to show that I want something there. I even want something here. Maybe here we can have an insignia. Maybe something here. But it gives the drawing so much more some life. It gives it more detail, and it just brings it back much more than just drawing the edges and not putting anything there. And I have to also do a better hatch job here because that was pitiful. So these are kind of things that I think about every time I draw something. I'm just trying to figure out stuff. Sometimes I have drawn it before and then I can just do it again and again and again. But usually when I'm trying to do something new or something I haven't done before, I just take my time and try to sketch it out. I just want to try it out. You know, twist and turn it, see where can I put this, where can I put that. And it's important to, you know, explore and try stuff when you're drawing, because if you don't know what you could have done, and you don't know what you have done, because it's kind of how you learn to draw things. You try it and you fail. Okay, what did I do wrong? What did I do right? But yeah, this webcomic is also gonna be kind of in post-apocalyptic times, if that's the story I'm going with. So I also need to learn how to draw buildings and a world where all our stuff and buildings are not what they used to be. So I also have to do that research. And sometimes you have to do research. You have to take your time and check what other people have done. Not too much though, because that can be a crutch. But, try and find out and see what has been done before, so you don't feel the same and stuff like that. It's a lot of things to think about when you're trying to create something. Because I don't know how many times I've heard, oh, this looks like that, and oh, this looks like this. It can get annoying sometimes because when you're actually trying to do something and it just a detail perhaps looks like something else, and then everybody's like, oh, but that's that. And you're like, no, it's just one detail, and the thing you're thinking about also stole its version from someone else. So it can become sometimes annoying when people are like, "Yay, that looks like that," and I'm like, "Okay, is that a good thing or a bad thing?" Because usually when you point it out like that, it means it's like, I've already seen that before. Why are you doing that again? And that can be quite annoying. And also, this is gonna be pretty much the first big time I'm doing a story comic. I've tried to do it before, but I haven't exactly succeeded because I've been doing web comic strips too much, so I'm kind of not well versed in drawing and telling a story. But I try, and I really want to do a storybook. But we will see. We will see what will become of this. As long as I'm drawing, there will be changes. There will be stuff that pops up and stuff that will probably not be the same as they were when I started this. But that's the beauty of it. Things change and you can just flow with it. You don't have to fight it, you just flow with it. Because as an artist, you have to change, you have to be able to change and to accept change in times to create and stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of liking this. I'm actually that I should have not done. Let's see. I'm gonna put these two together, combine. Yes. So I'm liking this. I like the big sword. I like the wingspan, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna have the wings all the time. I am not sure about that yet. Maybe the wings can become something like his cape or something, where he, folds them out. It could be an interesting way, kind of like Batman's cape, but instead it's like wings. Boom, 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 boom. Because if the angel is like this, then I need to figure out how the demons look like. I'm gonna do one more of these angels, a female version I thought I was gonna do, so I can see if I should just stay with the male version, but I want it to be not just male angels as well, but I need to figure out so it doesn't become too locked to men. And this perhaps I should, yeah, I'm gonna do one little bit change here, and this is the reason why I am drawing digitally, because I can just go in here, I can just take free transform, and I can do this a little bit wider just to see if it works better with him having a much bigger stomach part. And it kind of does. He kind of pops it out a little bit more, so he doesn't become like big on the torso and then just becomes skinny as hell on the middle. So I like that. I'm gonna go with a little bit more fatter on the stomach. Let's see. Let's try a female. And as you can see, every time I do something, I'm just drawing a circle, and I kind of have the pose in my head. I kind of know where I'm going, but at the same time, I have no idea. I'm just trying to let the pen and the flow just go. I'm just trying to not think too much about it. And that's why I usually do my research on one day and I do my drawings another one. That's just how I do it, because I want the brain to kind of soak it in and kind of remember poses and stuff that I liked, and so I can just remember them and just okay this. So I don't become too reliant on reference material. Reference material is great. I have a big archive of reference with poses and movement and artists that I like, how they draw hands, feet, bodies, eyes, and stuff like that. But you can't be too reliant, because then you will just do their style, and that's not what I'm in it for. I want to do my own, and to do that I have to kind of not look at it, the reference material, so that I can do my own thing without having to rely too much on something. So let's see, this is, I don't know how beefy this girl is gonna be. Maybe if I put like a big, so there she has this, and then she can just go perhaps like, and that became a little bit wrong. Let's see, I'm gonna do this. No. The arm. Sometimes the arm is a pain in the butt. And let's see, can I, if I remove this, how does that look? Kind of works, but not really. That's also a thing. I actually like to draw, well, maybe not a big surprise, but I like to draw women more than men, because men is kind of like, it's either this or this. Women you can draw in so many different styles and different shapes and everything like that, so it becomes more interesting to explore what you can do with that than men. Men usually are like, yep, you can always do it this or this, but that's about it. You either do the muscular guy or you do, but that is also something I have to get better on, because I know that's not really true, but it just feels that way to me, that men are not as interesting to draw than women. And I don't know, maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree, but that's kind of like how I feel. No, this is so not the pose for her. I'm gonna remove this arm now, because I'm just sitting and trying to fix something that shouldn't have to be fixed. Sometimes you have to give up an idea and just go with the plan B, plan C, plan D, or plan whatever. I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna erase the entire body and look at the head and see what kind of path can I do with this head. She is kind of standing like this, so let's make her a little bit more beefy, beefcake lady. And I'm just gonna do when I draw my women body, it's different every time, but usually I'm trying to think about this shape. So the shoulders and everything, and then it goes to this waist, not the, you know, Disney kind of, you can just put your arm around the waist, but some kind of waist and then go out. And I do this because that is where the crotch and part goes together, and where the legs are going like this, so you get the gap. Sometimes you have to do bigger legs and then you get the tighter gap. And depending on how you move the legs, it's also going to be changed. But this is the basic shape that I'm thinking about when I am drawing women bodies. But like I said, it always is different every time, because the women have different bodies, and it's kind of nice to have a lot of different styles you can do it. Let's see, I'm gonna do a leg pointing out kind of situation here. I think sometimes I have to do these to see where I'm going. There we go, and I'm gonna do, yeah, and I'm gonna do this, I think, yeah, like something like that, perhaps. I have no idea what the pose is, but I'm trying to figure it out. Because I have to think about that she's gonna be having the same armor kinda as the guys, so I have to and that's also a thing. The guys are sometimes very easy to draw, because you can always just do the muscle guy and then you have everything pretty much solved. But that's me, that's my take on it. And it's kind of more different to do the average guy, the smaller guy, the guy who hasn't, you know, lifted weights like 24/7, and he's just a standard guy. Those are kind of interesting as well, but it usually becomes some kind of muscles even then, so I'm a little bit tired of it, and that's why I'm having issues right now with the main character of this webcomic that I'm doing, because I don't know if I should go like Steroid Boy or like, you know, Average Joe. And I haven't decided even if he's gonna be old or if he's gonna be young. So I have to do a little bit more research on how the character should look like. Sometimes it's just more fun to start with the villain, because if you get the villain, then you can like go, okay, so if the villain looks like this, the antagonist, no, not the antagonist, the protagonist is supposed to be looking like this, more or less threatening, or more or less perhaps armor and stuff like that. So we have now a basic female shape. I'm not gonna give her the biggest boobs because I know there is gonna be armor, so I'm just trying to, nope, I'm not gonna do even that because that makes the left one there. I'm just gonna point them out where they kind of are supposed to be, so I know if the armor is actually intruding or not. So I am gonna do the evil eyes as I have done for my angels. And as I said before, I had to restart the stream. Sorry about that once more. But the angels and demons are kind of the bad guys. The whole angel versus demon thing is kind of the problem in this little story idea I had. But we will see if I can pull it off or if it works, because like I said, I'm in the writing stage right about now, so if there is something that isn't working for me, I may have to rethink a couple of things, but I think it's a interesting story. I can do kind of monsters, which I kind of like to do, and I can do fantasy, and I can do realistic stuff, and a lot of things. This story I have thought up of is kind of making me, letting me do a lot of things without sacrificing the other thing for the other. So that's one of the draws for me to do this story. But it also means that I have to push myself a little bit to learn how to draw certain things, like, well, angels here now. I'm gonna do, let's see, how far are we gonna take the helmet on this? Here we go. So it's gonna be quite interesting to see if I can pull it off, because I have a lot of other things as well to do. I have work. I have, well, soon I'm not gonna have work, and then I'm gonna go to school if I'm lucky, if I get the if I get qualified for it, which is also a thing I have to do. I have to do the exam samples so I can get in. But like I said, I'm gonna try and do this at the same time. Still looks like a shredder helmet to me, this, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it, because if anything looks like shredder, well, at least the good shredder, not the 80s cartoon shredder, but if it looks anything like, you know, like the new shredder or the movie super shredder, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Let's see, put this deep in, and then have something go down here. So here we go. Put some blacks in there so we don't see much of the face or lines. I also have to kind of make a choice if I'm gonna make this in color. I'm always fascinated by manga and their way of not using like colors. I mean, there are colored pages sometimes, and there are some manga that are fully colored, but I'm talking about the monochrome manga pages, which pretty much doesn't use color at all. Maybe some dots and stuff to, you know, get the grayscale, but pretty much it's just black and white with gray sometimes in it. And they always, you know, I never really question, well, what is this or that. They are phenomenal at doing the comics without having to have color as a kind of crutch. And sometimes you really need the color to, you know, like what is going on in the image, and that can't be denied as well. So I have to make a choice about that as well. Let's see, they had the piece here. So let's see, and okay, so the armor is supposed to go a little bit more like in. Okay, there we go. This is why I usually do a good, I try to get a version first, and then I have to explore to see like the shoulder pads here, and to see, okay, if I bend them like this, and the piece now that I'm doing on her has to be connected a little bit to the shoulder armor, which I have to learn. I have to learn everything here, pretty much from myself and for future drawings, so I can learn how to do this without having to try and remember all the time. But sometimes it's good to do these sketches, because then you can see where you went and where you went wrong, or maybe you pushed it too far, or maybe you can just use it to remind yourself of, okay, this is how I did it. This is what I liked. I have to go back. Sometimes actually these sketches could be very good to remind you of sometimes when you are starting to do the real deal, the real book. When you're starting to do the pages, you get kind of nervous and you try to overcompensate and you lose some of it. And then it can be good to go back to these and just see, okay, I tried this and it didn't work. And why is it screwing with me now? Okay, because I did this instead of what I should have done. And stuff like that. So I usually try to not hang on too much on my sketches. Sometimes I do because I know this is something that I'm going to be drawing more and more of. And therefore I usually try to have it with me, but sometimes it's just nope, I'm gonna let it go, and just move forward, because sometimes hanging on to stuff can be really a hindrance for you. Still no questions in the chat. I know this is the first show. I'm gonna say it again just to remind you. There is a chat here live on Saturdays when we do this. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, picardo.tv/Ebbe Waxin. That's where I'm broadcasting every Saturday, 18-19 Swedish time. Okay? And this time it became a little bit screwed up because I screwed up in the beginning. But if you have questions and you can't join the live show, please put it in the comments below so that I can perhaps take your question and answer it. And if you have perhaps stuff you want me to critique, take a look at and say, hey, you can do this or you can fix this and do that. Get me a link where I can see your image. Don't mail me, please don't mail me the image and stuff like that. My mail is for other stuff. So just get a link, maybe a Dropbox or something. Maybe you have it on your DeviantArt or something. Somewhere where I can just click and download it so I can see, and maybe I can put it in the show and we can talk about it, and I can give you some constructive critique if you want it, that is. Maybe just want me to see it, I don't know. But if you want that, please let me know. And let me know what you think. Should I be doing this? Should we have an hour, or should we maybe make it smaller? Do you want me to talk about certain things, or do you want me to just ramble on like I have been, or what do you want me to do? This is your hour. This is where we can chat, we can hang out, you can talk to me, ask me for questions and stuff like that if you need help. Hey, if you just want to chat and say, hey, what did you think about the latest episode of Flash, or what did you think about that movie? Hey, what kind of music do you listen to when you create? And we can talk about that as well. So don't be afraid to ask. You can just hang out, chat, and watch me draw, or maybe like ask me stuff and stuff like that. Because why I am doing these live shows is because I want to be able to talk to you, the people who follow me, the people who like what I'm doing, so you can get a chance to, talk to me, hang out. And I'm doing this in English because, yes, I have a lot of fans. Most of them are Swedish, but there are also people who are not from Sweden and doesn't understand Swedish at all. So, and I know Swedish people are actually kind of good at speaking English. So I thought, hey, the bigger the audience, the better. So that's why it's in English. So a lot more people can understand. so they can also join in. And let's see here. I'm gonna do a little bit like that. I'm not gonna spend too much time on the chainmail because I actually do chainmail like this, and it's actually quite bad that I do chainmail like this. I know there are a lot of different techniques to doing it, but I haven't really gotten into it. I am kind of lazy that way. My cross to bear, so to speak. And I'm gonna put... Here we go again. Let's see. If I put the insignia on the side, it's gonna mess up the legs. So maybe I should put the insignia after all here. Something like that. And just go like that. There we go. Yeah, kind of works a little bit better. There we go, and we can put that one over there and go like that, something like that. No, I haven't done the legs before, so it's kind of, I don't know what to do with the legs. I have to figure that one out as well. And as you see, I have only done the upper body part. But I am not gonna do that right now because I just want to get started on the characters. Maybe I will try and make the legs as well, because it has to, everything has to be connected sometimes or somehow. I just don't know how yet. And that's for me to figure out. Here we go. Let's do a little bit of these, the circles around here, just to get, you know, a little bit of feeling of it. I want to do the wings. That was the main thing I wanted to do here. I'm just gonna do a little bit more chainmail shading so it becomes a little bit darker. There we go. I'm also right now in the process of trying out more heavy shadows. I don't know if you have read any Hellboy or Mike Mignola comics, but I really like how he treats shadows. They are like completely black. They're not half black or like colored shadows. They are black. They are like their own entity in a certain way. Let's see, we got the wings like that on this one. Let's do. I haven't decided either on the back. I have to figure out how the wings on the back of these creatures actually connect. If they connect to the spine or if they're just connected. Let's see. I'm just gonna do one and then go a little bit more farther out like that. There we go. So yeah, the angels are supposed to be more warrior-like in my book. I was trying to find some images on Google and stuff like that. Google can be good sometimes, and sometimes not so good, because it depends on what you're looking for. If you want something that's original, yeah, you probably shouldn't be using Google. But here we go. Here I messed up a little bit. Let's see. I'm gonna do that, and then yeah, I'm gonna have to learn how to do what size these wings are and how big they should be, and should I do it like if they should be able to fly, should they be bigger, and stuff like that. Or maybe this, like I said before, the wings maybe isn't kinda visible or like showing like this all the time. Just they're there, so they don't have to be like connected. Anyway, I was more. I couldn't find anything on Google, so I remembered that the Darksiders games had quite good angels, and I was thinking about the Bayonetta angels, but they were kind of like more like demons. They looked like more like demons. Just change the color palette. Um, so yeah. So I wanted more like the night, more like that, because I always like when games take like a night and kinda removes the person, so you don't see the face, you just see a couple of eyes, and the rest is darkness, and everything else is like covered up in armor. And I thought, wow, if you could do that, but with perhaps the heaven air quotations here, heaven colors like white, gold, beige and stuff like that, and have the wings kind of be there when they're swinging their enormous swords. That would be kind of awesome. But like I said before, I want the characters to look kind of menacing, so that's the main thing that has to be addressed, because they are kind of the bad guys, even the demons, and I have to do the demons as well. And I'm thinking that if the angels are perhaps more armored, maybe the demons are more organic, and maybe I can get some inspiration from the Guyver and stuff like that. Anyway, our time is more or less up. Like I said before, every Saturday I'm going to be live streaming this. If you want to chat, want to hang out, talk to me, ask me questions, maybe get some help, or maybe get some critique, constructive critique on your drawings, give me a link, write in the comments below. And if you're here live, you can always chat with me and get your answer directly. This is the Art Hour, and I hope you have enjoyed it. I'll see you next Saturday.